Dr. Shaw here, and welcome to another episode of Teaching Humanity Remotely. Today, I want to discuss the attribute of competence. Now, I know that we have discussed this before, but I've been getting some letters from you talking about how some of you are feeling like your child's really being successful in their new school situation. Some of you are feeling like your children are having more difficulty. And I just want to share that I'm working with this right now on myself. And so I think it's like a hot item for me. And it's about confidence. When I was a teacher, I always had student teachers. And what I noticed about the student teachers that were the most successful, and they were not necessarily the best teachers, but they had a quality, and that quality was that of confidence. And just as I've spoken about how I can be the cause of my own suffering, I can also be the cause of my own success in a way. And I think that young people who have confidence, not cockiness, but who have confidence, who believe in themselves, who, when they see a task, even if it's challenging and new, they don't say they can't, but they feel that they can. That is such an important gift to have. It's a great quality because I have had great student teachers who never became teachers because they lacked confidence, but they were actually really great teachers. And I have had teachers that were just student teachers that were just kind of average, but they got the jobs because they had confidence, they knew how to sell themselves, and they believed in themselves. And the story there is that if you believe in yourself, others will believe in you. If you believe in yourself, others will believe in you. So let me tell you how this is impacting my life currently. I have a really interesting life. I came from an interesting place in my family, and I've had so many obstacles to overcome, one being a young mother with 2 children, and my second child being born with spina bifida, paralyzed from the waist down. I mean, I really had to overcome a lot of conditions. And the situation of having my son born with a body that wasn't his birthright, with the lack of well-being, that caused me to be an advocate. So one thing led to another. So I've had a lot of experiences. And everyone who really knows me in my inner circle says, oh, you should write a book, you should write a book, you should write a book. I feel I'm a pretty good storyteller, and I do have a lot to say, and I have written children's books, and I feel like I could write an adult book, but I get stuck by saying, who am I to write a book, or why would anyone listen to me, or all this like self-doubt, negative thought, all of it. Even though I'm doing these weekly podcasts and I believe everything I say, I also know that I have what everyone else has, and some of it is like negative thought. So to make a really long story short, I say, well, in order for me to qualify to write an adult book, whether it's a memoir or a self-help in quotation marks, which I don't like that because it puts me above the audience that I'm writing to, I feel like really the book is about sharing my life based on my experience, the understanding I get from it, and how it could be beneficial, because that's what I'm interested in, sharing someone else's life and understanding based on your experiences and me gaining insight into another way of seeing things. So the book is really not a self-help book. I don't like that idea. But at any rate, that's what we call that kind of book. But my point is, I never felt qualified to write it, even though my life itself qualifies me, because I can lack confidence, or I could feel insecure, the old me, a weak muscle that has got exercised so much that now that muscle's strong and I don't want it anymore. It doesn't serve me. So all of the things we talk about in past podcasts about if it doesn't serve me, how do you get rid of it? Let it lie, but don't let it take you over. So anyway, so I decide, well, in order for me to be qualified to write a book, as if my experience isn't enough, which really it's all about that, I'll get a doctorate. So I get a doctorate. So then I sit down and I start writing the book. And I see that in this particular format, I see all the negative self-talk, and it stops me from expressing myself freely. And really, what makes me able to think I can write a book like this is when I just speak from my heart freely. Because I'm speaking about everything that everyone faces, right? I'm speaking about the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm speaking about the fact that we all have self-doubt. I'm speaking about the way that we could be successful is to lessen the self-doubt and have confidence. And so it's been a very, very interesting process. And so what I'm doing when I am in a moment of writing and I erase it, which is so interesting because in my classroom we never had erasers because it was like we wanted to celebrate the mistake. So I'm having to have this same self-talk that I had with my 5-year-old students, which is that if you think you can, just don't say you can't. All of those things, it's just so interesting to me because I am a product of my environment and I have old memories and I have muscles that have been exercised for years and years and years. And even though I'm not that insecure girl anymore, I'm not the same as I was, there's still remnants of that. And I could go there. So self-observation. I have to catch myself going there. I have to ask myself, does it serve me anything to go there? And then I have to overcome it and say, okay, I'm going to let that insecure little girl live in me because it does live in me. But I'm watching myself and I'm going to exercise a new muscle of confidence and I'm going to build stamina in that area. And therefore, I'm just going to write and write and write. And I'm going to just get it all out there with the freedom that I know I need in order to share from an honest place and have the book be interesting. The self-doubt and the self-negative talk is not going to help me produce the kind of book that has any substance for anyone to want to read. The book is going to be successful by me sharing a story, by me being 24 with 2 children, not having a job, having to advocate for a child that was not born with his birthright. That's important, and it can help other 24-year-old moms. That's the point. It's not about being an expert. It's about sharing from a heartful place and learning something from what I had to go through and hoping that the world's easier in this area because a lot of moms like me have already set the stage for other future moms to be successful in advocating for their children, that laws are changing, that people are more inclusive, and we're trying to do better than just tolerate, but really accept diversity. So things like that, you know what I mean? So it's like I have to allow myself seeing where I am, seeing exactly all of the steps that I go through all of these podcasts. Oh, I am insecure here. Okay, is it serving me? No, it's not. Okay. Today, do I have the energy, knowing that it's not serving me, do I have the energy to be able to transform the experience so that I can continue to write and have freedom and then see where that leads me? So for me, it's good to have these podcasts where I get to show you my humanity and the way in which I struggle like every single human being, not as an expert, as a fellow human being. Look, it's hard. And I am constantly working at overcoming my limitations. And I am constantly walking my walk and talking my talk. And this is a good example. This podcast seems so important because it's a good example to see that I do believe that when I meet a challenge, I want to say I can. And I do say that sometimes I forget that I made that commitment and I say I can't. And then I have to stop and reflect and say, oh, I made a commitment that when I met a new challenge, I was going to say I can. So here I am with pen and paper writing this book, and I'm having a moment where I think I can't, I'm not good enough, I have nothing to say, I don't want to seem like I'm an expert, and I look at that, I own it, and I say, okay, I'm overcoming that because that's an old muscle, and I'm always building new muscles and building stamina to have stronger new muscles in the areas that will serve me. And so I don't have to continue to be addicted to the muscles that hinder me. So that is really what I wanted to share in real life happening at this moment. And I hope that you appreciate it. We're all in the same boat. And these podcasts are to bring us together and to share. And we need to work together and pull each other up. That's what people need to do. They pull each other up. Anyone who pushes us down is not the kind of coach that I want to go to. I'm going to be coached by those who support me and champion me and see the champion in me. So until next time, please feel free to visit me at learnwithmeremotely.com, and also feel free to visit my Dr. Mindy Shaw's author page at Amazon and go to my paperbacks. Thank you so much. Be well.